And how old were you at that point?
23.
23. See, people fucking, if you're in radio, or if you had an inkling to do it, I think growing up in the business, which I did and you did as well,
Yeah.
Toronto was the place, right?
Oh,
Like if you could get to Toronto, anywhere in Toronto, to do radio, to do a show, you fucking made it. Like it was, if you've lived anywhere, done radio across this country, grew up knowing that this was the medium it was when it was as influential as it was. If someone said, "Oh, he got a gig in Toronto," you were fucking livid at that guy or girl for getting a gig in Toronto, because it's Mecca, right?
oh,
It was and is, and you're doing it at 23.
opt 24 hours a day. You didn't have to touch a board. You
Yeah.
just went in there. You were treated like God. When we had meetings, everything would be catered. Sometimes they'd send limousines to pick you up. We had one where they brought in a new program director. This one was at CFTR, and it was Reg Johns, who's also a radio legend. Came in with a marching band, cheerleaders, and then just came in and started throwing money. $1,000 bills, $100 bills, $50 bills. He just said, keep it fun in the halls and tight on the air. And we all scooped up the cash and went and got smashed at one of the bars there. That was radio then, right?
Yeah, it was. It was. Well, it still is, I think, to some
Yeah.
extent, but it's not like, it's not like it is now. And now that you're retired, Jerry Forbes is our guest, legendary morning guy, Canadian Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame member, numerous awards for just doing the right thing and helping people out with charity. I could go over the list, but we'd be here a while.
Surprisingly, too, not one arrest.
No. Yeah, that's incredible when you think about it, right? Especially when you think about those days in radio, because when I got into radio, it was like, I was 20 years ago. And I would, it was kind of the crossover time when I got in with some of the guys that were, a little bit older than me, that had some time, legends in the business. And when I came to Toronto, I'd go and hang out with guys like Roger or Rick or different people in radio that you have known and you have met, that are from that era, and the stories they would fucking tell about starting to drink after their show on a Friday, waking up in LA on a Sunday and having no idea how they fucking got there. Like the culture in this industry back when it was what it was, which is one of only three ways you get your information, right? You get it from television, you get it from print, you get it from radio. There was nothing else. You guys were super fucking stars.
We had this is a true story, and it probably shouldn't be told, I'm telling it anyway. We had a chum hooker. We had a girl named Robin, and we had a guy working there who was connected, and he could get anything you wanted. This guy was super connected, Italian, big surprise. And we had a professional girl that would look after any special parties and stuff. We had limousines. You name it, we had it. And
so hold on, when you say hooker, she was a prostitute that was on retainer for the staff at CHUM. Is that correct? Or it was just
just for the cool guys, the cool cats. There were
okay.
some real hardcore radio guys that would go home and study the top 30 records, and then there were idiots like us that were there for the fun. And we had this girl. If we had a party, we wanted to make sure it was a good party. We'd dial up Robin, go over to her place, and sweep some of the crack off the front of the stove, and take her dishes out of the aquarium, clean up her condo for her, and then take her out to the party. She was called Robin in the Silver Bullet. I'm sure you can figure that one out.
Probably can. You see, and we can sit here and laugh about these jokes or these stories because we've lived that lifestyle, and I think a lot of people don't. When they think about radio, or they think about that time and the time that we're in now, where everybody really enjoys just being pissed off about everything or finding reasons to hate someone. Those stories to me are fucking fantastic. That's what the lifeblood of that industry was and is, right? Like if I could sit here and tell you stories about, threesomes in bathrooms at Sound Academy during a concert, or waking up in someone else's, I've woken up in London, England, in a bed with a Kit Kat smeared into the duvet and three women kind of
It's
dispersed
true.
around.
Yeah, they're all true.
Yeah, and
I
and
could,
and people will go, nah, that's not true. But that was the culture. That is what we did. It's not just music. It's about the lifestyle. It was about ego. It was about money. But more importantly, it was about the experience.
we got sent down to Detroit. Gary Slate sent us down on a listening trip, and I would listen to riff, and okay, I get it. I know what they're doing. Let's go to the strip joint. So we'd go out, and we went to the strip joint, and I had a friend that looked like Captain Kangaroo, and I could use that guy anywhere because Captain Kangaroo is a big deal then. So I'd
Yeah.
take him to the strip joints, and of course they'd say Captain Kangaroo's here with us. I'm like, boom, we're in. And full disclosure, I've told my wife all these stories, so we're good.
Anyway, that's good.
So
I was always uncomfortable when you're in the middle of one of these,
that's
and
right.
a spouse walks in and goes, "Tell me more about the CHUM hooker."
Oh, she knows them all.
Okay, good.
So then we meet these two girls, the Detroit Wild Child and this other one named Brandy, and they said, "What do you do?" "I'm a radio guy." "What do you do?" "We're down here on a listening trip." And she goes like, "Where are you from?" "Toronto." "Oh, I love Toronto. I want to go to Toronto." I said, "Well, I can fix that up." I said, "There's a train that goes from Detroit to Toronto." And I said, "Who's your favorite rock star?" And she goes, "Billy Idol." I go, "You know what? I know Billy Idol." Of course, I didn't know Billy Idol, but I knew Billy Idol was coming. So I said, "Well, why don't we bring you up on the train, and
Yeah.
I'll put you up in a hotel, and we'll get you to meet Billy Idol." So, and these girls were smoke shows. So we bring them up, pick them up at the train. I put them up at the Delta over in Scarborough, and picked them up and had the weekend that every man would ever dream of. Because the deal was, I get anything I want, you get Billy Idol. So there was no boundaries. So it was everything you've ever seen in any movie. And these girls were having a great time. And so sure enough, I meet the record rep, who was a great guy, and I take him in to meet Billy Idol. And Billy Idol's like, whoa, like a gift from God. Thank you. I don't even have to go anywhere. They go back to the dressing room, they meet Billy Idol. And I say, girls, have fun. Let me know where you're going to be tomorrow. I'll pick you up and I'll get you back to the train. So strangely enough, I run into Stu Myers 20 years, 25 years after, and he goes like, "I got to tell you the story about Billy Idol." I go, "Why? What happened?" "Well, I'm going with the record rep, and we're going to see Billy at the hotel." And we open the door, and Billy goes, "Hang on a sec," and he's got two girls in bed with him. And and I go, "Yeah." And Billy goes, "Well, that's great, bitches. Till next time, we'll see you." And that was it. And I go, "Guess who got on the two girls?" And this is 20 years later. And it was those same two girls that Billy Idol had in the hotel room that Stu, 20 years later, found out the story that was the weekend that I brought him up from Detroit.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable. I mean, stories like that, they're just legendary, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's why it's. Do you get together with like other radio guys from time to time? If you don't follow Gerry on Twitter, you should. At Flapjack92 is his handle, and it is one of two things that I get from your Twitter feed. It is how much you love your wife and your dog, and also it's a daily occurrence for you and Red Dog to be in a pub somewhere hoisting a pint to a camera.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he's a good buddy of mine. He worked with me for a lot of years, and we've stayed best buddies. He tracked me down at Edmonton. He was just a club disc jockey guy,
Yeah.
and I found out how funny he was. And he didn't have the greatest voice, but I go, that doesn't matter anymore. I said, don't worry about that. I said, if you're funny and you're engaging, and he's like a 6'5",
I've met him.
280. Yeah,
I
great
met
guy,
him
right?
when I was so my
You
first real
mentioned you were in
radio
Fort
gig.
McMurray or something, right? And you
Yeah,
came down to Toronto for something?
yeah. I was in Fort McMurray, and he was up there at Cowboys doing something.
Yeah,
And they
that's right.
just-
He said to say hi to you, by the way.
Yeah, well, please say hi to him too.
Yeah.
Him and another guy who ran the place. He had long hair and he was mean as fuck, but goddamn it, was he funny? I cannot remember the guy's name. He had long curly hair,
Yeah.
and he was buddies with Paul Vickers. Paul sent him up there to set the whole thing up.
Right.
But Red Dog would come up there on weekends, and we would get famously annihilated. And I remember the very last time I saw him, I was getting my head shaved, and I was just fucking wasted. It was like for a charity thing, and he was standing there, and I looked ridiculous, and he looked at me and he grabbed me and he kissed me on the top of the head and he goes, "Buddy, you look like a fucking loser."
You know, it's funny. I think, you know, because I studied your career too, I think our careers sort of mirrored each other. You know,
Yeah.
we've done a lot of the same sort of things where didn't take no for an answer, went ahead and did what we wanted to do. And I think that was the key to success. That's why I feel bad for the guys nowadays, because you
Mm.
can't. When you're run by a telephone company or a cable company and you're number 16299, they don't give a shit. They don't know about your talent. They don't know what you're worth. They know that that position pays 120, and if you go at 125, you have a chance of getting blown out. And you can't do the stuff. You can't take the chances that you and I took.
Yeah.
And that's really made it hard on young guys.